Let's talk about glass children. If you grew up with a high needs sibling, there are a variety of things that might have happened to you in your childhood that are still affecting you as an adult today. And one of those things is parentification. A parentified child is a child that is playing the role of a parent, where the parent is playing more the role of the child. Parentification can happen in a few different ways. Emotional parentification is very common. When families have a high needs child, they can get very stressed out and they might turn to one of their children to support them emotionally while they're taking care of the high needs child. This can look like parents oversharing their emotional problems with their child. It can look like the parents needing emotional soothing from the child. And it can look like the child playing a mediating role in relationships within the family. Another way that glass children can become parentified is by being given too much responsibility, more than a child should have. With a high needs sibling, this is very common. If you're a glass child, often you'll be called on to take care of your sibling, even in very stressful situations. You might have to actually give them medical care or even life saving care. You might have real excess responsibilities around the house because your parents are busy either working to bring in money to pay for the high needs child's challenges, or they're doing direct care with the high needs child that they have. Parentification is something that's really common that happens among glass children. So, what does that look like now that you have grown into an adult and now you're an adult glass child? There's a variety of inner stories that we can have, thoughts, belief systems, and behaviors that you might have as an adult that are really not serving you the best. And so, one of those is not having a good balance between how much you care for yourself versus others in your life. And so this is what the inner ally, the healer, is focused on. Her superpower is the balance of care, or making sure that you're taking care of yourself. Oftentimes, glass children that have been parentified are so used to caring for other people, they forget to take care of their own needs. And so the healer is there to help you create the inner story and the inner support system to remind yourself that you have permission to take good care of yourself. Another way that parentification can express in adults is through perfectionism. And so this is where the innocent inner ally comes into play. And her superpower is self acceptance, but it's really in response to perfectionistic type behavior. And so the innocent superpower is self acceptance, accepting yourself even when you make mistakes, but also allowing you to solve problems with curiosity and play, creating a new story for you about how you relate to yourself on the inside, how you get things done, and how much you appreciate and accept yourself. Another thing that can express in adulthood is an inability to trust others. And therefore, you're really trying to take responsibility for others and do things for other people because you feel like you're the only one that can get it done right. And this is actually a trauma response and this is where the companion inner ally really comes in. And the superpower of the companion is support, to remind you that it's okay to support yourself and it's okay to create relationships where you can depend on another person for support. I know that sounds scary, but the first step is realizing that it's a possibility and shifting your inner language and relationship with yourself so that you're open to those types of relationships. Another way parentification shows up in adulthood is the inability to set boundaries. And this is where the captain inner ally comes in. The superpower of the captain is the emotional need of freedom. And you can't get freedom if you don't set boundaries. And so that's what the captain is there to guide you to be able to set boundaries in relationships that you have with other people so that you are taking care of yourself, so that you are protecting yourself. And one more way that parentification can show up in adulthood is this feeling of not being good enough. Because you had so much responsibility as a child, it never seemed like you could do enough. And so oftentimes you might have this feeling of not being good enough or not being worthy. And that's where the cheerleader comes in. Her superpower is about worthiness and reminding yourself that you are worthy. You're worthy of love and you're worthy of having good things in your life. Not just because you've earned it, but because that's part of your birthright. If you want to explore more about what it is to be a glass child and what that looks like in adulthood, you can check out iseeglasschildren.com, my friend Alicia's website. She's the one who popularized the term glass child, and she's a huge advocate. And there you can find a variety of resources to continue learning about what it means to have been a glass child and now to be an adult glass child.